Am I the asshole for not being an active grandparent? I am 47, have a son Jake M26 who has his own son Mike M5. Jake's mother and I only had a short-term relationship and it was an accidental pregnancy. To be blunt, I never wanted to be a parent, particularly not at 21. However, Jake's mother did and it wasn't my decision. Although we have always kept the peace, things have always been icy between us due to that. However, I always tried to do right by Jake. I would have him every other weekend and for a month during the summer. Would do my best to deliver on anything he asked of me. Treated him kindly and tried to be a good father. Then at a certain point, his mother married a guy Jake hated and I had him move in with me once he was 13. I won't lie. I wasn't cut out to be a parent. I love Jake. But I just hated parenting. I did it anyway since he was my son. We have a very good relationship. And I've never shirked any responsibility to him. Jake also became a father at 21. However, he was all for it and is happily married to Mike's mother. I also got him into my electrician's union and had him set up on some good jobs. So, he was on much better footing than I was for a child. Back then, we had a long talk and I told him, Jake, being a parent is a very different life. It is hard, exhausting and on a day-to-day basis. You don't really get to do what you want to do very much. It will be a very long time before you don't have that kind of responsibility anymore. Then the conversation turned to how I'd help him. I told him no. I am retired from parenting. I am turning back to my own life. He has his own home, union job, is engaged, and adult enough to decide to have a baby. He's the adult now. He's the parent. I'll be around and if there are any emergencies, obviously I'll do what I can. But I won't be an active grandparent. I've largely held to it. I have been doing a lot of travel. I have a GF. Hobbies and to be blunt, I'm doing all the things I didn't get to do in my 20s. Do I see Jake and his family? Yes. However, I rarely agree to babysit. Jake resents that I don't go to Mike's games, they tend to conflict with my weightlifting club and that I'm pretty hands-off with Mike. Things came to a head last week when Mike had a baseball tournament and I refused to go because I had plans to take a scuba class with my GF which admittedly could be rescheduled. I didn't tell Jake this, but I spent so many Saturdays bored out of my skull watching Little League when Jake was little. I always cheered loudly, was crazy supportive and never let on that it was like watching paint dry. But this is no longer my responsibility. So I told him, Jake, I spent 20 years parenting. That's enough. He then yelled at me that I am always jetting around, playing like a teenager and not putting him first. I told him that no, I wasn't. I did that for 20 years to get him on his feet as an adult. I've done that and can go back to prioritizing my own life. What I am reading from this is that you knew you were not cut out to be a parent. You feel you have done your duty and are now determined to do everything you feel you missed out on. You can do whatever you like and whether you are tar or not. Your actions will have consequences. But only time will tell if you find you regret your actions or not. I know you said you hung up the parent hat. But that is a brutal and heartbreaking thing to put into practice. He has a kid at the same age you did. But for the first 13 years, you only had him for twice a month. Plus an additional month. So that's 78 days per year you had him. You only took on more parenting work after his mother remarried. So you have what? 5 years of constant parenting. Info reading your post's comments. It sounds like you've decided to quit being a parent. Does this mean when asked, you'll tell someone you don't have a son, grandkids, or will you be honest and say you have them but you don't consider yourself a parent because you didn't feel like being an active father anymore? You might not be but you're ruining your relationship with your son by essentially telling I don't care about being actively involved in your life. I've already done the bare minimum expected of me and I won't do more. Do you want him to go no contact with you? Because that's the direction this is heading in. You're the asshole. I wouldn't consider going to an occasional little league game or going to the zoo with your son and grandson, parenting more like being a loving grandparent. Then again, if that's all you did for the first 13 years of your son's life, I suppose you would consider that parenting. Being a parent never stops, my dude. You're entitled to free time, but you can't just tell him you've checked out of parenting. My question is simply this: how would you feel if someone you loved told you that they never really loved you and that they were finished with you? You may not have chosen to be a father, but neither did your son choose you to be his father. He had no choice either. Now you are punishing him for something he didn't do. You think you've missed out on life, but really you're just choosing to miss out on love. If you've already decided, why even ask? Nah. It's your life, so live it how you want. I don't think Jake's expectations are that unreasonable. Though, you are a pretty terrible father now. Parenthood isn't a job that you retire from. You just basically told your son you don't love him and his son. Good job. You now have no family. Info. Is this antisocial sentiment limited to your son and grandson? Or do you generally struggle to give any shits about people? Info. As a 21-year-old, were you not aware of where babies come from? You're the asshole for being an R. Just tell your kid you hate him and want nothing to do with him and his kid. Then you can go and be selfish and forget you were ever a parent. You clearly posted this so you could argue with people on Reddit. Lol, just leave them already, ya deadbeat. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. I just think that maybe you should go on therapy. You're the asshole. You're holding your son accountable for you having to be his father. You had no problem getting his mother pregnant, but then decided it wasn't fun anymore when shit got real. You don't deserve a relationship with Jake or Mike, and I'm sure your selfish and smug attitude will shrug it off like that's his choice. Oh well. Enjoy your nursing home. You're the asshole. My jaw dropped at all your replies. I'm so sorry how resentful you are of your son and having to be responsible for your actions. Getting a woman pregnant. Parenthood doesn't stop at 18. You set him up with a job and a house. Job well done. Not really sure if you're the asshole. But I'm not really sure that asking you to go to a baseball tournament is asking you to parent again. You're an adult. You do you. But these two things are not the same. He's not asking you to be a parent. He's asking you to be a grandparent. And you're going to miss everything. How sad. You're the asshole. You were a father at 21. Full-time parent at 34. You had your kid twice a month and 1 month a year for your 20s. You didn't miss out on your 20s at all. The truth is the truth. And if you don't give a shit about Jake or Mike, and aren't going to be there, yeah, that's an asshole move. But it's better to be honest than lead Jake on. You're the asshole. You didn't pull your weight as a dad. How is being an active grandparent being a full-time parent?